to How I Live with RA podcast. So, we are here to share our journey and our tips, and hopefully, what not to do when it comes to having rheumatoid arthritis. Your host, I am Melly and Marsha. So, Marsha has been suffering from rheumatoid arthritis for many years now and is in stage 4, who also happens to be my dearest mother. So I hope you can take comfort in our story and join us on our journey. Hopefully we can help a few people out. And yeah, without further ado, let's say hi to my mum, who will give us a bit of insight.
Hi there, everybody. My name's Marsha. And, I've been suffering with RA probably for like over 16 years now. And I suppose, the reason why I probably want to share my story is, because I don't want my life of pain and suffering to be for nothing, So, I suppose I'm choosing to believe right now that this is the purpose for me, to tell my story,
And help anyone else out there as well.
Yeah. Like, it's really a story about really what not to do if you're diagnosed with RA, because, it's about, how I got lost in the medical system, how I got lost in my, depression and physical pain and even how I got lost in addiction, and, about how I felt, when everyone else's life was just going on, and I felt like mine was ending,
Yes. That's so young too, because apparently you don't get it at your age normally.
Yeah.
So you were how old when you were diagnosed?
I was about 40, so,
Yeah.
So the old line back then is, life began at 40. It didn't go down too well with me at the time, because...
Well, no, I would have been like 13, and I remember you thought you had cancer at first. Go over a bit about how you came about getting diagnosed, I guess.
Yeah, it was probably a few years before I,
What were you feeling? You were feeling like you had, I think you told me you felt like you had cancer.
Yeah, like I was very tired. I knew there was something wrong.
Yeah.
And for probably a few years before I was going to doctors, they did all the tests for all the symptoms that I had, they checked me for rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, gout, all the stuff, And
so it didn't show up on the blood test?
No, it didn't show up on the blood test, so it's very hard to, the doctors just thought, and then they were telling me that, am I depressed? And then I started thinking, well, am I depressed? Because I'm like, but how you know your own body.
Were you fatigued? Like, go over the symptoms, I guess, of, like, you were in pain, go over kind of, I guess, like, what your symptoms were.
Back then, it was probably more like aching, as in,
Yeah.
And I thought I was just run down and tired because I did a lot of shift work and everything, and it was easy to think that I'm just tired and run down, and but
like
it was
sore muscles kind of in the beginning, almost.
Yeah, like.
And just fatigued.
Yeah, like you kind of start to, by the end of the day, you feel like you're in slow motion, and it's like your body, it's like you feel like you're seizing up kind of thing, like.
Were you cramping?
Yeah, well, not actually cramping. It was like, you feel like you can't move your legs. Like when I was working on my legs all the day, by the end of the day, because, like I used to get, years ago, you'd get sore feet and, you'd put your feet up when you got home, and then the pain would ease, and then, you'd feel a bit better, but this kind of wasn't going away.
And you were very active, like you were an active person.
Yeah, I was very active, and I really, I was persevering with the way I was feeling, because I was just sort of listening to doctors. I wasn't being proactive with my own health, because I just felt exhausted. So,
you did raise 2 kids, like me and my sister a year, not even a year apart. So I think that, having 2 kids and then kind of just throws you through a bit of a loop, really.
Yeah, well, I went back to work when I think you were 2.5, I think,
Yeah.
I did a lot of physical work.
So So you started getting symptoms at around 35.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, and I was like, and I kept having to kind of, I'd work for like months, you know, probably get up to about 8 months. Then I have to give it up, especially in the summertime, because I was just, I'm thinking, what's wrong with me? You know, like I know I would, you know, and eventually I think I was just starting this new job and I got this really bad pain in my toe, and I thought I'd kicked my toe because I think we just moved house, and I kicked my toe. I thought I'd kicked my toe and I broke it. So I went to the doctors. I think my older daughter was with me at the time, and she said, "Oh, I think you did kick your toe, Mum, when you were moving." So you know,
throws you under the bus.
And maybe I did, you know, like, so, you know, he just gave me Voltaren. And kind of sent me on my way, and that kind of got me through. Yeah. At the time, and I kept working because I just started this new job. I didn't want to give it up, and I'm thinking, you know, like everybody, you need the money, you know, so you kept pushing yourself, and then, you know,
especially after getting blood test, and then you think, oh, everything's good.
Yeah.
Like, you just assume, oh, well, that's okay, that's come back, like it's got to be something else. It's got to be me, I'm just feeling this way for whatever reason. So how did it come about that when you actually got diagnosed? Like, how did they ended up finding what it was?
Yeah, well, I just ended up, the pain just got worse. It just spread more through my body, and it ended up in my arms, in my shoulders, and I was like, the pain was so severe. I don't think I've ever had pain so bad in my life, you know. And it was actually, I think it was a lead up where I was actually sitting in the couches at night trying to sleep. It was so bad. And I was kind of vomiting, and I think my husband called the ambulance. I called the ambulance, and then I ended up in hospital, and of course they organised a bone scan.
Okay. So until the bone scan, they didn't, that's how they found out, really?
Yeah, I was riddled with... that the machine just lit up like a Christmas card.
It goes to show, though, like, imagine if no one got a bone scan... for all that time, and they just, you know what I mean, like, and the disease has progressed in that time, obviously. That's God, it's been awful.
And that's why, and then I was diagnosed with seronegative arthritis, which is, you know, it is one, you know, the RA that doesn't show up in the blood test, but because it was seronegative is a lot harder to detect, and it gives the disease a lot more time to kind of you know, kick in, you know, and it makes it harder to stop and harder to send into remission because it's already taken hold of your body before they find it. Because when I was first seeing the rheumatologist, it was a couple of weeks later, they said, we normally like to get to it before this, but because, you know, you've got seronegative, you know, like it, you know, it's hard to detect, and, you know.
What's the difference between seronegative and stage 4? Is that the same thing, or?
Yeah, seronegative and RA, they're both the same thing. It's just that it's like one shows up in the blood test and one doesn't.
Okay,
Seronegative, just like they said, it can take hold of the body. You know, it can be worse because it's like they can't detect it, and it can get into your body. And
what stage were you when you were diagnosed?
Well, they said you don't take the drugs, you'll be crippled in 2 years.
Oh, wow, yeah, okay. So you're already pretty much stage 4 when you found out?
Well, I was probably in a couple of stages by the time I found out. No, like I'm probably in stage 4 now where everything's starting to seize up. Well, my knees have already seized. I've had 2 total knee replacements. That was like 8 years ago, like. So, yeah, it didn't take long for my knees to start seizing.
Like your hands are still... I think that's what we're trying to do moving forward, is we want to implicate, I guess, a diet plan to see whether there's going to be actual proper changes that happen when you actually change your diet, because that's the one thing, I guess, a lot of people have been saying, is that it's got to do with your diet. So I guess the worst thing with RA is obviously the pain. What damage has it done to your body over the last 16 years you've had it now? From the beginning to where you're at now, like what kind of damage has it done to the body?
Well, Well, I'll probably start from my feet. Okay, my feet are probably deformed, and I can't wear lady shoes anymore. You know, I've got to wear men's shoes because of my feet deformity. You know, I've really got to wear men's shoes because they've really spread out and kind of, you know, in that way. So.
And you have a lot of pain in the feet as well.
Yeah, like, even though, like, I've had my 2 total knee replacements, which is great, you know, I had them done, and which allowed me to walk, but I still can't walk very long because of the pain in my feet and my ankles, because my ankles are kind of seizing a little bit as well.
So that's where it began. It began in the feet, and obviously attacked the knees first in your first stages. And then, what did you start feeling after that? I guess as it progressed.
Took about 2 years. Well, like, went from my first knee replacement, like, but I was on crutches for.
Oh yeah, you were. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I was on crutches for quite a while before I got my knee replacements because the left knee just completely seized, you know, pretty much seized up, so I could hardly even bend it. So that was a nightmare, I suppose. You know, sleep deprived.
What age was that?
Well, that was about 8 years ago. I think I had my first knee replacement. So,
so about 4. Oh God, I don't. What's the calculation?
40, so 8 from. So I'm 57 now.
Okay, so you're 49. So you got diagnosed at 40, showing symptoms at 35. Then at 49 was when you got your first surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be something like that. And then 2 years later, I had the next knee. By the time I had the one knee done, within 2 years, my other knee had completely gone.
Okay.
So they did my other knee.
And what kind of healing process was that? Because how long were you healing for? Would have been a while.
Yeah, the rehab was pretty. The rehab was, you know, tough. You know, challenging and that, but. I tell you, you know, if you get in there and do the physio and do what they tell you and everything, it was worth it in the end. You know what I mean? I really.
What do they do when they get in there? Like when they do the knee replacement? Like what do they actually? Do they replace it with like an artificial thing, or do they just remove what they can of the disease?
No, well, mine was complete total knee replacement, so they chopped my knee right out.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Sounds a bit barbaric, but
so sketchy.
I was going to watch one of those. I started
watching. Oh God, I could never. I can't watch anything medical.
I started watching one of the knee replacement videos on YouTube, but no, I got to the start of it. No, I'm not going to do that to myself.
No. I'd rather not know. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, it's probably another story for another day. There's a lot I could say about the operation, the rehab, and all that stuff. You know.
And then they started. So you would have been on medication, obviously, from the beginning. What did they start you on when you first found out?
They had me on. They started me on methotrexate. Well, prednisone was the first thing they popped me up with, which they've been doing for the last 16 years, pretty much. You know.
Is that like a drug that you can have all the time? Like, why do they cease giving that to you?
No, because it's really bad for you.
Oh, okay.
Supposedly, it's bad for your heart, bad for. Yeah, it does a lot of. Supposedly, it damages your body in other ways.
Lovely.
Yeah. So, you know, prednisone and methotrexate. They started me on. Then they had me on all the, you know, the tablet form ones. They had me on, you know. Plaquenil, Sevoflurane.
And it's not meant to, obviously this is a non-curable disease, everybody. Obviously people who have this disease would know about it, but for people who don't and just stumble across this, RA is, it's not curable, it is just a disease that they have to manage, basically. Yeah. So those drugs, they would have done, I think, do you have to take separate ones for pain? Or, like, is there 2 drugs that you have to take like at the same time? Like, or
no, I think
one drug they
I think some things were, like, they're anti-inflammatory, so some things would help with the pain, and then sometimes you'd have to take, maybe have to take other pain, you know, like I'd take Panadol or...
Panadol? Like geez, that wouldn't do much.
No, well, it doesn't really. Like,
oh my God.
I was probably...
Panadol.
Probably in the beginning I was popping and everything. I could probably,
Yeah.
not that I'd like to admit that, but I was probably, you didn't deal with it very well in the beginning.
And you didn't do anything natural either, like, so it was just obviously your pharmaceutical, whatever the doctor recommended through Medicare system.
Yeah.
You didn't try any herbal stuff or in the beginning, or?
Well, I think I went it, but I was always
you
struggling.
entertained the idea of it.
Yeah, I think I read a lot of stuff, but never, because I suppose, financially, I couldn't afford just to be buying things to find out whether they were going to work. It was a bit like that, and people don't realise, you don't realise that the chronic fatigue that goes with that's probably, it's almost worse than the pain.
Yeah.
The chronic fatigue, because you can't think, you can't. It's easy for everyone to say, oh, well, we'll start up a diet plan. We'll
do that.
We'll do this, do on, and even when the doctors are saying it to you, it's like, you're in this brain fog where, like, you haven't even got the energy, hardly got the energy to do what you've got to do.
Yeah. Well, obviously, physically, it's taken this toll, but then it obviously takes that mental toll as well.
Yeah.
On your
I think
body.
the mental toll has been really, really bad,
Yeah.
And, like, getting back to the medication, like, they said to me that, you've got to try all the other medications before they'll put you on the better medications.
Oh my God.
There's a protocol where, so for about 4 years I was popping, the tablet form.
Yeah.
And you'd do it for, you'd see your rheumatologist every 3 to 6 months. So you would try this tablet for 3 months, this tablet for this one for 3 months. If that doesn't work, then you try this one for the next month. Then you don't try it, that one doesn't work. And it was kind of like that.
Experimenting on you for the first.
Yeah.
Oh my
so
God.
they're kind of just, you're like a guinea pig.
Yeah.
For the first,
oh my Lord.
For the first probably 4 years it was like that. And then of course, they started me on the, injections and the infusions, like Embrel and Actemra and Merencia. Like there's, a few different ones. God, just about all the ones I think I've been on. Well, that's pretty much like it's just you went on it and it kind of, the disease just kept rearing up. I suppose, and up till this day, now I'm still on the injections. Now I'm on methotrexate injection.
So at no point your rheumatoid arthritis has gone into like what they call remission for RA is just a state of dormancy for the disease. So it's not, it's still obviously, it's always going to be there, but it's dormant. So that's what they call, I think, remission for RA patients. Have you ever experienced any type of remission in the 16 years with any of the medications?
No.
Okay.
No, and I suppose that's what's frustrating. I meet a lot of other people with rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah.
That they say, oh, I've got a flare up today and all this sort of thing, and I'm thinking, oh my God, like mine is just like that. I'm in a flare up 24 hours a day. Like pretty more so probably now, like in this stage. But there probably was times when I was on the medication, it would ease off, I suppose you could put it that way.
So you've tried to wean I think you have tried to wean yourself off the meds a few times.
Yeah.
Was that your own attempt, or was that the doctor telling you to?
No. Well, I suppose I have, because I probably, because nothing was really, I felt there was nothing really working. I'm popping all this stuff, like I'm taking all this stuff, and I'm thinking,
paranoid about what it's all doing.
And then I'm thinking, of course I had my friend say to me, Marcia, you got to think of quality of life, stay, be on the medication, so it was.
So you can at least last longer, basically.
And I think it was hard, trying to stick to a diet, trying to do all that when you're in pain. It's like trying to stick to something.
It's a massive mental challenge to.
Yeah. Because, you know, if you don't have good foundations from, you know, like when you were young.
The get-go, yeah.
You know, from the get-go, you know, like, you know, it's like you kind of just keep converting back to your old ways.
Yeah, force a habit, yeah.
Yeah, and you just, you know.
Plus a bad day will just sink. Like you could be going good for a whole week and then a bad day will just sink you.
Yeah.
So it would be extremely, I mean, normal people get that. I get that being a normal person who's not suffering from any disease. Like I just have shutdown days where you're just like, oh, I don't want to do anything anymore. Imagine having, you know, that disease and like you just, because you already feel like there's nothing kind of going on for you, or that there's no hope in a sense. Like a shutdown day is like 10 times worse. In a way.
Yeah, it's
you have to be very internally positive, and you'd have to work at it every day.
Yeah, I think that probably is a little bit different to me now than probably what I was, you know, all those years ago. Like it has been, my disease it's slowed me down.
Yeah.
It's slowed me down, but in turn, it's made me think more about, and it's probably given me more time. Since I've probably had to give up work, you know, I've had to, you know, I suppose I've learnt a little bit to change the way I'm thinking, to I've learnt a lot about myself over the years. So it's, you know,
because you have nothing really to focus on but yourself.
I've learnt a lot about. I wasn't working, so you know, I could really see things about myself that I didn't notice before because I was so busy.
Yeah.
You know, and I was so, having a bit of OCD as well. I was like, you know, bull of a goat kind of thing.
She has crazy OCD.
You know, so
which doesn't help this whole situation.
Like
wanting to get up and do 1,000 things, and you're just distracted by 1,000 things, and then you have no energy or resources, like physically, to do it. Like it's
So that's challenging.
It's like an internal prison. Really.
Yeah. It does seem like that sometimes. And, and I suppose I'm searching, and you know, I think that this has probably given me a purpose to, you know,
just reach out and share the journey, because there's so many people looking for information. Like I remember when my mum first got this disease, I was 13 at the time, so I probably didn't quite understand it. But then when obviously the internet got more popular, and like, you know, because I think it wasn't too crazy back then, but now you can find information at a click of a button now. So obviously I've gone through everything and anything that I possibly can, natural remedies, well, honestly, something some Indian person did 20 years ago, the most randomest things that I could find just to try and find a solution, basically. And I know there's hundreds of other people doing it for their families or their loved ones who have this disease, or people who have this disease themselves. They're going to be looking for this information. So I guess what we're hoping to do is, after we obviously, you know, show the world who we are in a sense, we're going to be, I guess, sharing Mum's journey moving forward. We're going to be making a few changes, a few diet changes, and a few other, you know, exercise routines and things like that for people in stage 4 rheumatoid arthritis, and hopefully that can benefit, if one person can benefit from that out there, then our mission has been, I guess, achieved.
Yeah, that sounds really good, because it gives me a purpose of, you know, like especially maintaining. Look, I've probably read everything there is out there to read about, you know, diets and, you know, like everything, you know, about physio, and, you know, there's a lot of good things I've learnt, and I'd really like to have the purpose to put that into practice. Yeah. You know, because
so it's one thing knowing it all, it's another thing doing it.
Yeah, like this consistency, and I'm thinking, you know, maybe if I can just get on and talk about it, and, you know, like actually put it into practice, and
almost guinea pig on yourself. That's kind of what we're going to be doing moving forward.
And if I really know someone's out there listening, and someone else is there, you know, hoping to, you know, go along this journey with me.
Even people with just getting it, just finding out, like they could be stage 1, and if they made this change or did, you know, just kind of got some advice straight away and just had evidence that it actually worked with someone. Like I've done a lot of, when I'm looking for a lot of stuff, I find a lot of, you know, what do they call it? You know, people who actually like nutritionist or what are they called? Rheumatology?
Rheumatologist.
Yeah, like I find them doing a lot of videos, but like I need to see someone who actually has the disease benefit from the changes they've made or what they've done to I guess benefit their situation. I want to see the actual progress. I want to see that it actually works. Because if I could see that, I could be like, hey, Mum, this actually works for this lady. But I can't take that advice of a naturopath telling me that, you know, if I visit her twice a week, I'm going to be cured in a year. Like, I can't really believe that unless I see it, really. So
yeah. All the time, like, what do I believe? What, you know, who's just out there selling something? You know, like,
exactly.
You know,
who's out there to help me or who's out there to make $1, pretty much.
Like, I'm just, you know,
Well, I'm a conspiracy theorist kind of person, so I always think there's like a cure for everything. They just don't tell us, pretty much. But you never know.
Well, I think I've learnt enough that, you know, basically it's about digestion. You know, rheumatoid arthritis has got a lot to do with digestion. So, you know, I've thought about, okay, I'm just going to, you know, get together as many anti-inflammatory foods as I can manage in my diet, get them all, and, you know, like, really kind of make it, like, do that. Like, if I can kind of make that kind of... Stick to
that for a whole month. Well, you've got to kind of do that change now anyway, because we're hoping to do surgery. Obviously, Mum's at the stage now where she needs to get hand surgery and wrist surgery at one point, probably within the next, 12 months. So in order to do that, you have to not be flared up. Is that right? It's got to be like not flared. So you have to make this diet change to see if that's going to reduce your flare up so you can even be considered for surgery.
That's what my rheumatologist just told me. And
so we'll be documenting all her food. You can follow it on the blog. We'll be doing a food diary and obviously doing, a few photos here and there of just the progress of, her hands and her stages, and you can go there and check it out. I guess I want to go over, how it's affected your life, because there's obviously people who are in early stages and late stages. How's it affected the quality of your life?
Yeah, well, probably from the beginning, obviously it affected my work and, being able to bring in an income. So, I had to eventually give up work. Of course, I put on 30 kilos, which is because I couldn't walk and couldn't...
And exercise,
pain and everything like that, and plus probably tablets and stuff like that hasn't helped with all that, and medication.
Like physically, it's obviously prevented you from doing a lot of normal things, like you said, working. I guess how has it affected you mentally? Like 16 years of having rheumatoid arthritis at your stage, like it just would, the toll that it would take, I guess, that just for people listening, I guess, what has it felt like, I guess, internally?
Yeah, well, I suppose I was probably, because I was a person that hid, that really didn't show my feelings or...
You're a people pleaser too, like and you do it to this day, like you put everyone else before yourself. So you're so used to being active and helping everyone, and then you've had to go to, how you're feeling now, basically. Yeah,
and I'm, it's a really hard one to talk about because...
explain depression, because you've got to be real with people, like it is depressing. Like this morning, explain how you feel on those bad days, so people know what to expect, I guess, on the worst day.
Well, you just want to die. Sometimes you just feel like, if this is how my life's going to be, I don't want to live. But
have you found other things, like I said, like if it's affected your life, have you found other things that you can do that have helped? It kind of led me into,
trying to run away, because, you've got to realise I grew up in a family that, my parents moved, 46 times before I was even, before I was 15. I grew up in a life where you just ran away. You had a problem, you ran away from it. So, you know, my whole life with, you know, my whole, you know, thing with my rheumatoid arthritis is I was running away from it all the time. I was running away from my pain.
Distracting yourself almost, like not really focusing on it?
So it kind of, you know, I kind of end up, you know, getting addicted to, you know, going down. I was playing the poker machines. Well, I had a husband who was a heavy drinker, you know, so, you know, we were in the pub.
Yeah.
So at the time, you know, like, so it was kind of, it was a way out for me at the time. It was like a release.
Distraction, yeah.
It was a distraction, and it was a time in my life which was really a nightmare.
And we didn't have much money, like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Like,
and it wasn't really, and
it wasn't to do, like, I think I've had this talk with you, like, it wasn't about money. It was a distraction, like almost just like getting out of your own life.
Well, it's like any addiction, really, where it just, you're really trying to run away from whatever you're feeling, and it wasn't really about the amount of money. Like, I was probably only spending a minimum amount of money, probably, you know, sometimes in comparison to, like, you know, you want to say about gambling. It was more about the guilt.
Yeah.
Because of the person I was, I never believed in gambling. I never believed, you know, I never believed it was right. I believe in God, you know, I believe in, you know, like that, you know, it was, you know, like you really don't believe, it's so hard to believe that you can end up in something, you know, that you'd never believe that you'd be involved in.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, a lot of people go down that track. Like, that's probably a very common thing.
But it was a nightmare for me because,
well, this disease just started taking over your body. Your whole life has changed, going from this physical working person to now someone who can't use their body properly.
Yeah. And because I think it kind of led me there earlier on, because I was so fatigued and I was looking for, and, you know, kind of started off that my husband said to me, no, you know, oh, why don't you go and, you know, chuck a couple of boats in the pokies, you know, or whatever. And it just started like that, and it was like, and it became this release, it became this, and it wasn't even about winning, it was just like, and because I didn't have, you know, really, not saying an unhappy marriage, but I didn't really have that emotional support in my marriage. I was told by a gambling counsellor that that's what you're doing, you're having an affair with the poker machine.
It's probably more exciting.
Well, you know, like, I mean,
oh my God.
No, but anyway, don't get me started. But anyway,
we love Father, but if no words need to be.
Like, it's, you know, it's like all of us. Like we
all have our we've all got our, what do they call it, red flags.
Yeah. But it was like I think it's the stress though that it put on. It put, like, because it's about trust and everything. Like it affected my.
But Dad's not emotionally supportive. Like, I can't. Like, if you don't have emotional support, and he has his own bloody issues going on, people. Like, he's got you know what I mean. Like, but if you don't have that emotional support, especially with a journey like this, you're pretty much alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In your own head and everything. Like, if you're going through, I mean, you've got support, but you don't. Like, not the support. Like, you've got the physical support, you know, he drives you to the appointments, you know, things like that. But you really need, especially when you've got to change your lifestyle, you've got to change your whole exercise routine, your diet, everything's got to be changed. Like, for example, Dad will still have in the cupboard junk food.
Yeah.
And Mum's got to be on this strict diet, but he still has junk food. And like anyone in the house, like if you're in the house, you're gonna eat it. Like it's there, you're gonna have it. Okay, people.
Yeah, no, it does make it hard.
If there's chocolate in the fridge, I'm gonna eat it. Like, it's gone.
But because I am a person that really, you know, I don't like to run other people's lives. I don't like to run his life. You know, like, you know, that.
But that's the people pleaser thing. Like, the number one rule.
You know, but being like that just makes your life a lot harder, honestly. I'm telling you, people out there.
Yeah, see, I'm a real bitch people. Like, I just live for myself every day, all day. Don't give a rat's about nothing.
She's learned from my mistakes, you know.
Yeah, I don't deal with people's shit. I'm just like, nope, I'm doing my own thing.
I don't know. We
and I tell you to do that all the time. I say, just forget everyone else. I tell her to run away. I'm like, just run. I will give you money. Just get out of there. Go to a retreat. Be a hippie. Like, just zone out. Like, the rest of your day. It's like, I give you full permission. Oh, God.
That does sound so nice.
Yeah, it does. It does. Oh, going back to the medication. Quick note with anyone listening. I want to know if anyone out there who's been doing everything privately, like obviously we're going through the Medicare system, which is the government system in Australia. Things move a bit slow, no offence, but they do. But I want to know if you comment below or comment on the blog or kind of write into us whether your private specialist appointments or experience has been different. Like, do you find they put you on any different medications that you've heard here today, or any other different strategies that you can send in? Yeah, I'd just like to hear about that. Sorry, Mum, continue.
Yeah, that would be, I'd like to hear that too.
Just to see whether, like, a private kind of, because I've said all the time, like, I'm happy to pay, like, you know, to go privately now that, you know, we've saved a bit of money. Like, I'm happy to obviously do those things. But we need I'll just be interested to know whether it's been different to what the medical system, I guess the Medicare system's provided.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be, before you even decide, it'd be nice to have some input with that. Yeah,
because obviously you're happy to pay $600 if they've got like if they put you on certain things that are, you know what I mean. I think everyone knows what I mean. Yeah. But I think what were you saying about the pain? Like, so it hasn't really adjusted how you, because I know that you wake up some mornings you're still extremely.
Because what happens is once the rheumatoid arthritis has eaten away attacked your cervical joints or whatever it is, it takes all away all the, you know, the movable stuff in your joints. And once it's chewed away all that, you end up with osteoarthritis, and then the rheumatoid arthritis drugs don't work for osteoarthritis.
So, lovely.
So then you've got to try and work out some sort of, you know, and there's not a lot of stuff out there for osteoarthritis. You know, it's more, you know, you've got Panadol osteo and things like that, like pain stuff, because, you know, it gets down to shoulder replacements and, you know, obviously some people get my ended up, you know, I had rheumatoid arthritis, and of course osteoarthritis in the knees, it kind of just destroys them. You know, I've got one elbow that doesn't kind of thing, and my wrists are seizing, fingers, you know, like, so eventually I have heard that you can get the shoulders replaced, but it's, you know, obviously it wouldn't be like
that would be your last resort. I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you end up getting it done because of the pain.
Yeah.
See, and I think with the.
So what is the medication doing? Like,
because the rheumatoid, because you've still got the rheumatoid arthritis. You've got the other symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis, which is you've got your pain, right? You've got all your joints. Then you've got the chronic fatigue and the nausea, feeling unwell. You feel like you've got a fever all the time.
Yeah, that would be awful.
So the rheumatoid arthritic drugs kind of help a little bit with that.
Okay.
Like when they relieve those symptoms, but the disease is still progressing.
So you're still in pain, but you're able to function.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, because what happens if you go off the drugs, then you know, like if you get the full-on bout of it, you've got the, you know, you get the chronic fatigue, you get the feeling unwell, you get all the pain, you get all the swelling, your whole body kind of seizes up. Then you have to pump your body through a prednisone to try and bring it all down again, which is what they've just done to me. You know, like if you know, but, you know, I've been on the medication for quite a while now, but, you know, they're really telling me that really my wrist probably shouldn't be seizing like they are on the medication, because this one I'm on now, this Actemra, they said to me that it makes my blood results look good, right? Which is really frustrating me at the moment. And I said, how is that? How is that? You know, how is that like working? Like, why am I in all this pain? And my blood results say that I'm not. That you know, my inflammation is perfect. My inflammation,
it's questionable.
Yeah. So, and he said, oh yeah, the Actemra can do that.
So this drug just pretty much masks your symptoms.
Yeah, like,
and
I'm thinking, well, you know, like,
can't catch a bloody break. Because obviously you need those results to be not good to move up in the line, don't you? Like, in a way. Like if your blood results were showing that you were in pain and that the disease is, you know, bad news basically, you would get more attention. Like you'd get pushed to, I don't know, they would change something to try and help you, if that makes sense. But if your blood results are normal, you don't kind of get the attention you need. Is that
no? That's exactly right. Like if the blood tests are normal, they just keep you running on the same medication. They just sign a script.
Oh, it looks good. It's good. You're fine. Yeah.
They just sign a script and send you out the door.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Pretty much the same as in the beginning. Like they just didn't. They don't like if they didn't catch on, and then you're suffering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Look, I understand the.
Like they're all wonderful. Like that, the whole Medicare system, the idea of it is wonderful. What it does is wonderful. But sometimes I think doctors have worked so long with people day in, day out that they just get sick of it in a sense. Yeah. And they don't. It's you're not a person anymore. You're a number during the day. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing personal against the system. It's more just if you just happen to come across, you know, a public doctor that's just had enough for the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get kind of overlooked, and that's a problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to be enthusiastic, you know? I guess that's why it is, I guess if you do have the money, you know, you probably get a little bit more attention when you pay, you know what I mean? Like, when you have to give them money, like, they've got to give you a bit more attention.
Yeah, and you know, if you pay, you get a little bit more, you know, proactive with your...
Yeah.
You can get a bit more proactive with your, you know...
treatment and things like that.
With your treatments and everything like that, you know. Because if you could go, like I think about it, I could go to regular, like I have the care plan where I try and do my physios and stuff like that, which helps me, you know, helps relieve a bit of, because your joints are really out of whack, you know, it sends your muscles and, you know, like, all into disarray a bit as well, so... You know, you probably do need, you know, like it would be helpful probably to have regular physios maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, once a week or something like if you had the money, you know, like it would be.
Yeah, a necessity.
Yeah, like, or even massages, if you're that sort of person, I suppose, would even help, you know.
You'd really have to convert into like a full health guru.
Well, really, it's pretty much, because I'm you know, my hands seizing up, it's been the most upsetting, probably the most frustrating, upsetting
and scary
scary time of my life, because I'm thinking, you know, hand surgery could be my only option to, you know, get back some sort of
mobility,
and independence, you know, down the track. Like I'm thinking really diet and nutrition, which I haven't really stuck with consistency. So it's really, I'm feeling, you know, at the moment this is my only option. I need to do
time this. Now, yes.
You know, I need to do this, and I need to prove to myself one way or the other.
Yeah, whether this is actually good, whether diet actually has, because obviously if it helps you in stage 4, it's got to help people in stage 1.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that, I guess, I mean, there's people getting diagnosed with this every day. So, that, you know what I mean? If that's the goal here, basically.
And then, you know, like, because that's really what my plan is, what my plan and my mission purpose, you know, from now on, you know, like, because that's why I brought because really this is what's upsetting me. This is the most challenging.
And it's going to be your hardest challenge. Like I said, it's a mental, you're going to wake up every day in pain, fatigue, sick, and you're going to have to work through that mentally in the beginning of every single day and stick to your diet, stick to your routine, and that's going to be hard. Yeah. It's going to be really hard. But if you can do it for 30 days, hopefully be eligible to obviously, get surgery. And if it works, if it actually makes a big difference, then other people can definitely jump on board and do the same thing straight away.
Hopefully I can really, stick to it as much as I can and really, make a life change. You know?
I mean, in reality, it's a good change. It's eating healthy. It's eating. Well, it's mostly like good, or what do they call it? Like natural foods, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good change. Like it's making that. It's not the end of the world. It's not like you're never going to enjoy good food again, people.
Well, I'm lucky that I love a lot of all the anti-inflammatory foods. So
yeah,
I can put a lot into that.
It's just getting the junk food out of the house. It's just working mentally. Like you can do it, but it's hard because you've got to share a home. You've got to kind of work through all that mental anguish and pain in the beginning of every day. And it's a challenge.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's a challenge worth doing.
Yeah, because and plus, I do need to lose weight.
That too, and losing some weight.
Because I'm pretty sure losing weight would help my feet a lot, and then losing weight, I'm thinking because I'm already into my 8th or 9th year of my first knee replacement. I've already had it for nearly 9 years, so I'm probably, because they say knees, your knees can. My left knee is actually starting to play up a little bit. So, I could be back in for another knee replacement within, over the next 5 years.
Ugh. So they can go again. They can replace it again.
So because I'm only young, because normally they don't do knee replacements until you're over 60.
Oh, God.
I've met a lot of old people that just have arthritis, osteoarthritis in the knees, and they said, they won't do it until I'm, 60.
Jeez.
And of course I had mine done, because mine was so severe.
Yeah.
They couldn't even move my knee, really. Because I went through a stage of, what are they? The cortisone injections,
Mm-hmm.
I went through all those times of years, probably of cortisone injections, until my knee completely seized up. And then, of course, knee replacement surgery was the only option then. But anyway, I have hope to, get on this journey and, hope, I can share that with
some positivity to having RA in a sense.
yeah, like that, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
I'm hoping,
We'll be going through, obviously, a lot of topics, I guess, with mental health as well, because I think that's going to be a lot of people's, hurdle
it's been
with RA.
It's been such a big battle for me.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So,
Mental health is important, people.
Yes, that's for sure. Because if you can get your head into place, your body will follow.
Your brain is crazy impressive. You've got to lock into that section of the brain.
My body's a mess, but my brain's worse. So
yeah, same. My brain. You gave me that. It's genetic. Thanks.
Sorry about that, darling.
The internal, chaos that goes inside my head. I don't know what they call people that they just talk to themselves all day, every day. There's about 1,000 things going on up there. It's just chaos, but a good chaos. I kind of like it in a way.
Yeah.
So.
It helps you when you get it going right. It works amazing for you.
Get it into the habit of doing the right things.
Yeah, like if you can, if you've got that sort of brain, even like a lot of people out there with it's not the type of OCD like you get when people are washing their hands all the time or anything like that.
It's a different type of OCD. Yeah.
It's I'm not sure where that's even the name for it, but
we'll definitely go into that on one episode, just how our OCD brain works, and if anyone else can relate to that situation. Oh, good Lord. Well, that's our time for us today. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll be back soon with another podcast. And thank you.
Yeah, thanks guys, and thanks for listening.
No worries. All right, bye.